Hello, and welcome to another episode of Incantation, a horror movie review podcast where we discuss both classic and current horror movies as well as everything in between. We are four friends from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with a shared love for everything horror. My name is Joe, and with me today is Caleb.
Hello.
Josh.
Hi.
Lynn.
Hello.
And we have a special guest with us today, Alina.
Hello.
Yep.
Yay, welcome.
Yeah.
Our first ever guest.
Yeah, we have a guest today, right? So this is our second episode of our second season, and currently we are reviewing sci-fi horror. And last week, I have chosen the film Come True, which just came out, I think, a few weeks ago. It is a Canadian science fiction horror. It's directed and written by Anthony Scott Burns. The film stars Landon Liboran, who somehow looks like Harry Potter, and Julia Sarah-Stone, who somehow looks like Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter. It's about a teenage runaway who takes part in a sleep study, which becomes something like a nightmarish episode for her, and things that is in her dream sort of like mixes with reality and I wouldn't say hilarity in shoes, but
Hilarity.
but yeah, I'm just gonna give my initial thoughts on the movie. I absolutely freaking loved a lot of the movie, but there were some parts which was just a big head scratcher for me. Very right off the bat, the visuals of this film is amazing. I love it, especially me who love games in general. I love game environments. There are certain scenes in the movie that just sort of like draws you in. The camera itself draws you in, and then there are things and details in the scene which are dream sequences, but man, you keep looking at it and you can't look away. And I felt there were a lot of different of these sequences that were just, I don't know, amazing to look at. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way. And the other thing would be, apart from the amazing visuals, would be the soundtrack. I don't know how to describe the soundtrack except it's very synthesizer-ish, very 80s. Very dreamlike, ethereal.
When you
Reminds
say
me of
very,
the
but when
band.
you say very 80s, it's not like Possession 80s.
Not that one, Josh.
Not that kind of thing.
Why do I somehow know you're gonna say that?
You'll always bring back Possession. There's always a Possession.
That's
reference
the
somewhere.
only 80s film that I know.
No, it's not. Right. So I love the soundtrack, the atmosphere that it creates. A lot of times there is a dissonance. I don't know if anyone else hears it, but it sort of pulls and it sort of pushes you away. It makes you really, really uncomfortable, and especially during those dream sequences. Oh my god, you're just sucked into the scene with the music, and you feel like you're going in, but you're not, and it's. I love it. I love all of it, but there were some parts of it which is just, I felt it was highly unnecessary. But I guess it's all part of the structure, and it goes into what the director intended, which is ambiguity, a lot of ambiguity. I love the atmosphere of everything, the tone, the color of it, which makes everything feels very dreamy, very nightmarish. So yeah, overall, I don't think I would recommend this movie to maybe first timers. But I mean,
it's so funny because you are like, oh, I love it. No, I won't recommend it.
Exactly. I feel like I'm very conflicted about this. So it's like, if I love a lot of stuff on it, the audio, the visuals, the atmosphere, the characters I love as well. But you know, if you ask me if some if some newbie wants to watch a horror movie, I say, oh, let's watch Come True. I think forever the person will be like, I don't want to watch horror movies.
It's not your conventional horror movie, right? I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like this artsy feel.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Caleb?
Same as you. The visual and the soundtrack and audio, everything captures me. It's a very nice film to like look at. It's kind of like looking through a kaleidoscope, right? There was this one sequence in there, like kind of like kaleidoscope too. Yeah, even the premise itself about dreams and like demons in your dreams that caught me. But then I had a different kind of expectations. I was thinking of Russian sleep experiments. I don't know why, but I think it's because you keep telling me it's like Russian sleep experiments.
I was half expecting a Russian sleep experiment.
I was thinking like people manifesting demons from their dreams or something like that, but it's a totally different kind of film. It's very slow.
Birds.
Yeah. And if we want to talk about the story, the story, yeah. I don't know what to say about the story.
do you even understand what happened?
I understand on a very surface level. Like I see these things happening. Yes, I know what's going on. REM sleep, yes, dream, everything, all that. But I don't know. I think like there's like another deeper meaning that just flew by it.
Right. To me, basically, the plot is just what was the horror movie that what's his name? The Hobbit. Who played the Hobbit?
Martin Freeman.
Yeah. So that Ghost Stories. Do you remember that film Ghost Stories? Is like an anthology of horror movies and ghosts. In the end,
it's not fair comparing this because Ghost Stories makes a whole lot more sense than this film.
I guess Josh has something to say. So go, Josh.
Man. So I really wanted to like this film because from the outside, I don't know whether you all know, but I actually suffer from pretty severe sleep apnea. So I could really connect with Sarah's difficulty in keeping awake, or even when she falls asleep, having these kind of dreams that are very exhausting. Like you see that she's very tired all the time, and there's I agree with what Joe and Caleb have said. There's a lot of very interesting dream imagery. Although I saw one reviewer say that it looks like a goth metal music videos, and I can't understand.
What does that say about us, Josh?
Yeah, Joe, what you said also about the sound design. I think the sound design is really, really good. It's very full. Is that a good word? It's very full. It's very rich. And it doesn't stop. Like the whole film is just you're just bombarded by sound, but it is not. I mean, like what you said, right? There are some parts there where it's uncomfortable, deliberately uncomfortable, but then there are some parts where you're drawn in. So and then the initial mystery, right? What's the sleep study about? Who are the beings that they observe in the dreams? I found all that very intriguing. But that ending, my God.
We can talk about the ending later.
I mean, there's this one specific moment in the film, right, where, and I'm going to keep this spoiler free, but where one character observes another character's dream, and then what happens after that, I just went like, oh hell no, like I'm not here for this. and the film really lost me at that point, and I just couldn't recover after that. So would I recommend the film? Honestly, I wouldn't. The ending is so bad that I can't recommend anybody to sit through all of this, even though there's like really interesting imagery. Like if you want to get that kind of imagery, maybe watch some goth metal music videos instead. I don't know. But
watch
yeah,
Inception or something.
I can't recommend it because like if you get to that ending and you don't like the ending as much as I did, then it really does feel like everything that came before it, the 80 minutes or so before that, just feels like a waste of time.
Wait, you like the ending?
I hated the ending. I absolutely hated the ending. Yeah.
Okay.
And so yeah. If you don't like it like me, then everything before that feels like a waste of time.
Right.
Okay. And yeah, how did you get that I like the ending for what I said?
You see, if you like it as much as I do.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
So
no, I
if you
mean,
like the
if
ending
you,
like I did, I'm like, okay.
no, if you
I get you wrong.
if you
like
didn't,
not a lot.
if you feel like how I feel about that ending, and this is not one of those endings where it's like, nah, I wish it could be a little bit better. Like, this is downright bad ending, and I'll get to that in the spoiler. But it is oh my goodness, when I got honestly when I got to the end, I was angry. I was like, what did you why did you put me through all of this just to give me this kind of ending?
Right.
Yeah, so I can't recommend it. Honestly, I can't.
Yeah.
More bashing.
Like Josh, I didn't like the movie either, but I'll say a few things that I like and dislike about the movie. So the things that I like, pretty much what Joe has mentioned, the setting, the cinematography, the music, those are the good stuff about the movie. And unfortunately, it went to waste because of the whole second half of the movie. For me personally, I felt that it just didn't work. The whole premise of the movie was good. It's all about like sleep paralysis and how it affects a person mentally, emotionally. But then the second half of the movie just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me because like I had a certain expectation after the first half. I thought it was leading somewhere a bit deeper, but then it just went a bit off what I expected it to be. So yes, the ending was just it's bad. So I I wouldn't recommend this to someone who is watching a horror movie for the first time. I think similar like what Joe said, you'll probably just create more horror not fans, I don't know, what do you call it? Haters. Horror haters. Yeah, so not the kind of movie that I would recommend, but I guess it's entertaining anyway. I wouldn't watch it the second time though. Like if you want to know, you want to find out a bit more about psychology, like sleep paralysis, then yes, it's good to watch this movie because you understand the premise behind it, but not like not as a movie, not something that you would want to watch as a form of entertainment.
Right. So Alina is our resident psychology student, expert.
Psychology student / expert. Compared to the rest of us, you're the expert.
Yeah. So maybe she can give us our thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all agree that the whole the way the whole movie was shot, the color, the editing, everything, and the music was good, and I agree on that as well. And I also agree with Josh and basically everyone. The ending was just like, right? Because I'm not like somebody who would be like looking through the whole movie with like really thinking through. But this story actually made me really start thinking, maybe because personally I am very, very interested in psychology wise, and it shows different parts of how it's trying to explain. And I mean the whole movie it's okay. I do like it because there are parts that really like makes me wanna guess what's coming up next. But yeah, I mean the ending can be better because it feels like the director just feel like, okay lah, I'm almost done nah, just give you like a very random ending, like okay, I'm done already, because I think apparently the music as well, because everything is shot in directed and edited by the director himself. So he puts in a lot of stuff. Like you can see the whole thing, and I feel like it's very it's great that there's a movie. The story is all about this theory. So it does to me it's very nice to show students, if let's say psychology students who are really interested in knowing more about the whole theory, how it works. Yes, then it's great, but not for horror movie fans, I would say. It's not suitable. But if it's like, using for lectures, that would be great, it would be great for students to watch it.
I think we can name the theory, right? So it's Carl Jung's collective unconscious, right? So it's collective unconscious, and it's also about the Carl Jung's how we view ourselves, right? So did you think that for yourself, being a psychology student, that it helped you to maybe appreciate the film a little bit more, knowing that?
Yeah, actually, that's why I prefer, definitely if this was shown during lectures, it would be like, I would understand a bit more, because there would be also discussion points for students. But it's not for horror movie fans, and I personally feel that it's a great movie to just let people talk about, because the way it was shot, it was based on this whole theory. Yeah,
I think maybe one thing we can do, Joe, before we move on to the spoiler section, is because like the litmus test for horror films, right? Was it scary, right? I think a lot of people, our like 3 fans who are listening out there, they might want to know, is this film scary or not, right? Before I decide so I think we can go around and see, did we actually think that the film was scary, and what did you feel, Joe? Did you feel it was scary?
It wasn't scary like The Conjuring scary. There weren't any jump scares. Was it? No.
I don't think so, no.
But every time that there was a dream sequence, I just felt a sense of unease, which is part of horror. A sense of very uncomfortable dread. Yeah. So those are the things that I really love about the film, and I think it's scary at times when you look at those dream sequences. Like especially there are scenes where let's get into it later in the spoilers. But there were a few scenes during the nightmare sequences, which is I felt it was quite scary. I don't know about you.
There were some dream sequence that reminded me of what's it called? Silent Hill. Yeah.
Silent Hill.
Right. Yeah. I just recently finished one of the game, Silent Hill 4. There's a lot of similar feelings that I get from the different scenes. Yeah. Is it scary in the sense of boom, jump scare? No. But yeah, you feel like what Joe said, dread and all.
I think they were scary at some scenes, which we will dive deeper into later. A bit disturbing, because I'm not sure if there's a supernatural entity in this movie, but it portrays to have one. So yeah, that part seems a bit disturbing. But I think I could sleep tonight lah. So not an issue. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Elena, what about you? Did you find it scary?
I find some parts because of course I appreciate there was no jump scares, and I mean it was great that you can still feel that eeriness where certain parts come in and they really intensify that part. So yeah, that certain parts, but overall it's not scary. If you ask me, yeah, I wouldn't still think about it, but because the whole movie is pretty relatable to people who maybe has gone through nightmares after nightmares every night, then it might be scary for them. But it generally, I don't think it's scary. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with most of you. I think, Joe, I share same sentiment as you, that especially when it comes to the nightmare sequences, it's creepy, and it's full of dread.
Yeah.
Whether I would call it as scary or not. And I think I agree with Alina as well, that if this is something that you have experienced before, then maybe it might be something that you might be unpleasant for you to watch. Or you might find it intriguing, because it explores that subject matter. I'm a bit on the fence. I'm not sure whether I would call it scary, but it's definitely there are scenes that will probably give you a bit of unease or dread. Yeah.
This is just a question out of the blue, but has anyone ever experienced sleep paralysis?
I have a couple of times.
I think I had one.
Right. Did the movie sort of like depict the experience somewhat accurately, or?
Yeah, Caleb, were you in a goth metal music video?
I wish I wish it was that. My sleep paralysis is that visually striking.
That vivid. Right. But I don't think that's a sleep paralysis. I'm talking about
demons standing
there. Yeah, the other sequence where they actually woke up.
Right. Yeah. If I remember correctly, I remember sleeping on a couch in the afternoon. Then I woke up. It was nighttime, but I couldn't move. Then I see this shadow just standing on the side of my couch.
Right. So it's pretty accurate then.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Until they did stuff in the movie that it's kind of weird. But yeah, that's all I remember from my sleep paralysis. My one and only experience. I don't know if I remember the rest, or it's the only one I remember. Yeah.
Right. For me is I was having this really vivid nightmare of this game that I played, Fear. So in Fear, there's this little girl who looks like she's from like the Ring of Juon, right? And then she's attacking you. So in the dream, I was being attacked by her, and it was so sudden that I woke up from the dream, and I couldn't move. I was basically paralyzed. But then I actually saw that girl in my room, and she was like crawling on top of me, and it was so crazy. It was crazy. So I guess that was my only experience of sleep paralysis, which is totally different from before. Like the nightmare that I was having actually like came into my room.
Never heard of like sleep paralysis demons that like run to.
Yeah.
I heard usually they just stand around staring at you or sit on you.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's just like a nightmare that was so jarring that I woke up from it, and there was still like residual playing in my head or something like that. So yeah, I don't know about Josh.
Mine is so I've read like what Caleb says. Most of the ones that people have, they see a dark figure somewhere, they can't move. Mine was not being able to move, but there was a lot of imagery moving around that I could see. So I could see I'm in my room. I can see the ceiling, but I couldn't move. And then there were a lot of things happening on the ceiling. Very frightening imagery, and it was because I was a kid at the time, of maybe like 9. So I could see things on my ceiling and it moving around, and but I can't, I'm even right now I'm struggling to explain what is it that I saw. All I know is that it was pretty unsettling, and especially because you can't get out of it. You were like, telling myself, it's just a dream, just wake up, but yeah.
Right.
And I think why I would say that it's sleep paralysis is because it was in my room. I'm in my room. I can see everything that's going on. Just that I couldn't move. So I don't know whether it was just a very vivid nightmare, or whether it was actual sleep paralysis or not. but yeah, it wasn't a very pleasant experience. I don't know anybody who describes it as a pleasant experience, though. If they do, then
maybe they would enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
What about Lina or Lin? Like, do you guys have any
No.
experience like that?
I actually
Fortunately, no.
never. Yeah,
Right.
I never had
Okay.
this kind of experience.
Right. Okay. I guess it's just guys then.
Just us weirdos.
Maybe it's a gender
Play-
thing. Maybe can
play
do
too much
research.
games.
Play too much games. Sleep too late. Not enough water.
Not enough water.
That's what Dad says. But anyway, there you have it, guys. This is the non-spoiler section of Come True. We will be right back, so stay tuned for our spoiler talk.
Sarah? Sarah? Sarah!
Are we ready? Stage 1. The eyes close. A reduction in activity between wakefulness. Stage 2. The slowing of the heart rate. Their bodies are preparing them for deep sleep.
What were those pictures Anita showed me this morning?
I can't tell you that.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Now we wait. We'll either be hailed or crucified based on our treatment of this breakthrough.
What's happening?
This is exactly what he's been waiting for.
Don't you ever feel like you're seeing something that you're not supposed to?
Wake up.
Welcome back to the review episode of Come True, a Canadian sci-fi horror about dreams and our own personas and our hidden personas, right? So I think the only way to actually talk about this movie would be we start at the end, right? When we talk
Yes.
about the ending of the movie.
Yes, I want to go first, Joe. I watched this film. I watched this
my
film
guest.
1 week before all of you, and I need to get this off my chest. This film ends on a freaking meme. It's a literal meme. You have been in a coma for 20 years.
It was
Please
all a
wake up. It's not just it's all a dream. It's a meme. Hey, please wake. You have been in a coma for 20 years. Please wake up. There's a meme. It's a meme. Like the girl Sarah picks up her phone and sees a meme on her phone, and the film ends. I was like, what?
Well, if you put it that way, it's lame.
That was like, what? I was like, what are you doing?
you wake
Wait. Yeah, it's like a creepy. It's from a creepypasta or something. I was like, what on earth are you doing? Like, why would you do this to me? I just spent 90 minutes with you, and you end on a meme. The only thing missing is the director putting a LOL on the screen. Like, oh.
Bunch of emojis.
I felt that I was being trolled. I was trolled. That I went through this whole experience with you thinking, oh, what's a dream, what is not, what's real, what isn't, and the end, oh, you know what? You've been in a coma for 20 years.
Everything is not.
How do you send text to a
I don't know. Some Leonardo Inception thing going on.
Man, okay. I just needed to get that off my chest.
You were holding that for a whole week. Holding that for a whole week.
It is so bad. It is so bad.
Right. I don't know if I should give away anything, but there is another movie which I mentioned which had the same ending. Like there was, it's an anthology of horror. I don't know if you guys remember, but it stars.
Ghost Stories doesn't end with a screen with text on it that says, "Hey, you've been in a coma for 20 years. Please wake up." Like that. It's just
I mean,
That is the stupidest
sentiment is
thing.
the
You could
same,
do
isn't it?
anything. You could do anything, and you end on the stupidest thing that you could choose.
Would you prefer it they end like Inception way where you have to guess? Well, it's not like solid that it's a dream.
I mean, it's pretty obvious that it's in a dream, right? I mean, she turned
Caleb,
into a
I would
freaking
have. If the ending had been like, oh, this is actually a prequel to Twilight, I would have been happier than this. Than what we got here. This is the worst. This is the worst. It is the worst. It is honestly one of the worst film endings I have ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Now that we've got that out of the way.
So it's it.
I mean, it's obviously a dream, but I think the point of contention is when did it start?
You say she was in coma for 20 years.
She's in coma for 20 years, but when did she fall into a coma?
But she says she's only 18 years old.
Yeah, so she fell into coma at 18.
She's in coma before she came.
No, I guess the theory is that she fell into coma when she was 18 years old due to some kind of trauma. Or it's either the whole movie is a coma, or at some point, like during the sleep study, she fell into coma.
I think there are two prevalent theories, right? And maybe we can. I'll put them out there, and then we can see, which one you prescribe to.
Yeah.
Like Joe says, one of them is that the whole thing is a dream, right? And the second one is that the dream starts from the moment where she falls asleep in a laundromat, and then she wakes up, and then there's a blind woman. A blind woman tells her some boy stole your phone. So that was like a pretty clear kind of something's off. Like, because then she tries to go to a friend's house, nobody is there, and then from then on, like, the whole film feels a bit weird already. I mean, the film felt a bit weird up to that point, but it got weirder after that, right? And so, I think it's either, for me, I think it's either one of these two. Either is the whole thing is a dream, or it started at the laundromat sequence. Yeah, then, what do you think?
I mean, then there is the whole. No, wait, that's not. I mean, for me, I think it started during when they started to mess with her brain during the whole experiment, and then that's when she sort of like there are things that she saw. She sort of freaked out in a panic attack. She saw an image of the shadow man, right? Then after that, in the laundromat, she sort of fell into coma.
The coma.
I mean, that's what I would think.
Yeah. Kayla, what do you think?
Well,
What was it a dream? I mean, it's obviously a dream.
It's obviously a dream, but I don't know when it started. It feels like just because of the ending text, it feels like the whole movie is just a dream.
The whole thing.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like if let's say the whole movie was a dream, it can be explained like why she was trying to run away from the mom. Maybe the way she was avoiding it might be, how when we usually interpret dreams, maybe she was trying to run away expectations from people, from who she wants to be and everything. It might be that. But if let's say the coma started when during the study part of the study, I personally think that it will be when she first went in. The moment they would wired her to all that different wire, and she might have fallen into a coma, because the first night when they were having that interview, it mentioned that she was pretty well rested. So if let's say someone who is suffering, and then suddenly if you fall into coma, then of course you well rested lah. You've been sleeping all this while, so of course you're technically well rested lah. That's how I think lah, right? Okay. And it does explain after that, because it's slowly basically she never woke up from that study, and it was just her dream from there.
I am like, I would even prefer the film if like she couldn't wake up from the study, and then the second half of the film is like her parents suing the company. It becomes a court drama. I would much prefer that than the
Becomes a court
nonsense that
case
we
drama.
got. Yeah, it becomes like the what's the film called, the possession of what's it called,
Emily
that
Rose.
film. Yeah, Emily Rose. I would prefer if they had done that and given us the crap that they did at that end. Okay, I need to. That's off my chest. I'm not going to revisit it
It's
again.
all a dream. They want you to know.
But I guess it can be argued that it's the whole thing is a dream because the movie started off the first scene in a dream sequence. Like, I don't know if you guys realize, but like the first shot of the movie is just a zoom, like a really slow pan towards a door, and then it opens. It was an island at the beginning.
I didn't see it.
There was an island, and then it zooms all the way in, and then there was this guy, and then she wakes up at the slide.
Okay, but I need to ask the question: why does it matter? That's the thing. But at the end of it, right? We're talking about when does the dream start? Like, why does it? What does it matter? Like, I'm trying to ask myself that question, and I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, the whole thing was a dream. then
Doesn't
what?
matter when it started.
Yeah, then what? Like I don't get it. I don't get it, and it's not like I don't like films that are ambiguous like that. Like, for example, I mean, the most famous one, Inception, right? It's very ambiguous. You don't know whether the whole thing was in a dream or whatever, right? And I like Inception. But it feels like this one doesn't serve any purpose. Like, if it's all a dream, then what's that sleep study? Like, the sleep study is also in her dream, and then the shadow figure is like a dream inside her dream, right? And then so any meaning that you can derive from that, I don't know. Like, it doesn't mean anything really, right? Because it's like, this is, you're going 2 layers in. Like what exactly does it mean? Unless I don't know.
What about Lin?
I think it started. I mean, like, I agree with Josh. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, whether or not
You see
where
what you did, Josh?
But I think to give the movie some justice, because I liked a few parts. I liked the first half of the movie where the premise was presented, where it's about sleep paralysis. Like what Alina said, this would make a lot of sense for psychology students because it's a real thing that's happening, right? But whether or not like it matters in this movie, I really feel like it doesn't. But to give it some justice, I think it did start from the start after the study, because the rest of the second half of the movie didn't make sense really to me. The things were like illogical. For instance, just small things like once he saw the CCTV recording of the hospital, then he immediately knew where to find Sarah. Those are the things that, like how do you know? Have you been to the hospital like 20 times or what to know that she's in the parking lot? So just small things like that just didn't make any sense, and how they followed her sleepwalking until the jungle. Like, who would do that, right? It doesn't make any sense at all. So I think the second half is definitely a dream, but the first half of the movie seemed like the director knew what he was doing, and I was expecting a lot from that first half. So I think that first half was a bit more realistic in a sense, but yeah, it didn't matter. Where did it start? Where did the dream start?
What would you have preferred the director did then? I mean, like, apart from what he did.
I would prefer him to focus on like how the entity I think to focus a bit, go back to the study a bit more rather than focusing on the character, because like how that 2 guys were awake right after that the entity kind of haunted them, right? Like, focus on that more rather than like suddenly shifting the focus into like a love story and then a love making session. It's just like so off. Like I couldn't with that scene. So yeah, that I think similar with Josh, you mentioned this scene, right? That kind of like put you off already. it's the same for me because like I just couldn't take it. Like, where is this?
It is
Like-
the worst thing. This guy has been watching her in her dreams, and then she sees his dream, and he's dreaming about right, your fantasies in your dream, that's your own. That okay, sure, right. But then after that, then they have sex, and then she tells him, "Oh, I'm 18. It's fine." Like it's so creepy. It's just so creepy. I was like, this is it feels like
It's another
it
meme.
honestly
Doesn't matter.
it honestly it honestly feels like an incel's dream. It's like this, Jeremy, that you're a creep. You are I was like, it's so predatory, right? The kind of behavior, and I was like, you're preying on somebody who's vulnerable like that.
Actually,
and
it's so
I was like,
unethical. It's the whole thing
Yeah.
was unethical from the start. I mean, I understand when they mention like, oh, the study cannot tell, but it's not supposed to be until like that. Like, they really kept everything, and it was already unethical from that part. And then after that, where they had like love story, that is super unethical. Like, no, it can never happen,
no
lah.
ethics
So,
review board is gonna pass this. Yeah.
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And also the thing that I come back to, right, is this I hate that the whole thing about, or at least to me, the shadow figure feels like a red herring. It's like it doesn't go anywhere, right? So the whole thing about who's that shadow figure, what is it in their dreams, why do they all share this kind of dream? And I know that the director is basing it on Jung's collective unconscious theory, that this is something primal that all of us share together, right? But it doesn't seem to have any connection with oh, you have been in a coma for 20 years, please wake up. Like, what? Why? How do these two things connect to each other? I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Like, it feels like you have wasted my time talking about this thing, which I found really interesting. I want to know more about this shadow figure. Right. And then they just dumped that whole thing and was like, yeah, whatever. Like, that's just
Yeah, I think I really feel the director was like writing and really based on his experience, maybe, right, wrote, and then halfway he's like, okay, screw it, I cannot do this anymore, like, okay, whatever. It feels like that, because it seems like he has given a lot from the front part. That's why the second part was like, oh, I'm so tired doing this, that kind of stuff, and he just like bam, like just give it to you and just take it. Yeah, so it kind of go downhill from there. So yeah, that's why the ending was like.
But Elena, my question for you is that so this film has these bookmarks. It starts with the persona, then the anima, the animus, and then the self, right? So it seems like the director is basing all of it on Jung's or the works of Carl Jung. I know I'm pretty sure Carl Jung didn't have any theories about sending text messages to people in comas. but did you feel like I mean, okay, if we take out the last 5 minutes, right? Let's take out the last 5 minutes of the film. Up until that point, did you feel like, hey, it seems to make sense based on like what I know on the theory? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it does seems to make sense because the way the whole movie was basically the whole story was being said was according to a theory, right? So it does make sense because they were trying to elaborate, but like what Lin also mentioned, that it wasn't really fully focused as well. So there are parts where also like, oh, just like that? Okay, sure, but certain parts when it comes to for example, the animus, it does speak a lot and it does elaborate a bit. So for example, like personally, I would feel like, oh, it maybe because it comes out like that, the dream, it started because maybe Jeremy is Sarah's animus. That's why they had that bond.
Right.
Yeah, so to me, it's like, okay, quite relatable. Only, let's not talk about the ending. We just put that aside. There's no, but yes, overall it does. That's why personally, like I mentioned as well previously, it would be great to share this on a lecture because it's not that scary in a way.
Actually, right? Do you think that if the film had ended 5 minutes earlier, so it doesn't go back to the scene where Sarah is, has just gouged Jeremy's eyes out? If it just ends at the part where she's in the middle of the forest and then it just finishes there, would it have been a stronger film for you?
I think it would, because it I mean, even with the part where she gouged out the eyes, ending there would be also better than having that vampire fangs. Because it might be also explaining when she decided to kill Jeremy. It might also be in a way trying to say that she's killing that other side of her.
Right. Yeah.
And then we can just technically just end there, but not with the vampire fangs.
So like she has finally arrived at the core self, right? When you destroy that part of you, then
it's
you
like
arrive at
that
your core self.
self-realization that this is who I am, something like that.
Yeah.
I would say like even if she got her fangs, they weren't necessarily vampire fangs, but like where she killed her animus and then she sort of like becomes this self, fully realized self, that she's animalistic in a way. So I mean that's fine as well. Even when she showed the fangs and all, I mean it shows that she's finally there. At the end she looked happy, right? She looked like she's fulfilled and all. Of course the text is just stupid.
So actually, right? So honestly, that the film would be so much better if you just remove 1 minute. You just take out that last 30 seconds.
Just take out the text.
of the phone, and you arrive at a state which is like pretty ambiguous still. You still have to guess. Oh, what happened? What was it? A dream? Was it not? And all of those things. But you'll be okay, right? Then we can have a pretty interesting conversation. The moment you add something like that, like you have been in a coma for 20 years, please wake up.
Yeah, because I think having coma patients that wakes up seeing like the way they were interviewed and all, right? There are coma patients that feel like when they are in coma, the dreams they had were very real. So they actually do not know maybe they are in a coma, right? So maybe it can end somehow, like when she woke up, she realized that who she is. I mean, that ending would be better in a way that she's looking at two realities, because during her coma she felt everything was so real, but when she really wakes up, the reality is also real. So that would be a very good, to me personally, I think that would be a very good ending instead of that text. Yeah.
I guess everyone just has problem with that text.
Yes, that was that problem.
Could it be a budget issue? Like a budget issue, like they just ran out of like they just ran out of budget and they like, we got no more money to shoot anything else. Let's just wrap it up. Let's just do this.
Right. Yeah, I mean even that was kind of out of nowhere as well. I mean the whole movie, I don't think they ever mentioned the fact that they could send messages into dreams. All they ever talked about is capturing dream images.
No, I have seen some people online say that the thing where they put on the head and then you can see what goes on in their dream. Right. Like maybe it is Sarah getting this kind of, so even though she's in a coma, like this technology exists outside, but her way of processing it, that she has that's why it looks like an 80s kind of setup, because it's all that she has to go by in her dream. Right. Whereas in the real world, maybe it's like very technologically advanced and they can put it on her and then they are trying to reach her with the text. But it on a plot level, I can understand it, but I think it takes the story in a direction which just kills a lot of the things that were very interesting about the film, right? Like I want to know what happened to the sleep study participants. Like the shadow creature was there. Yeah. Approaching their bed, the lab assistants ran into the room, and then we never find out anything at all about what happened to them.
Right. So
Just threw the scene away.
the two person just like jumped up and then they had like white cloudy eyes and that's it. That was the end of it.
Then he
And-
keeps
and then what
saying,
happened to
like,
the-
the doctor needs to see this. This is what he's been working on for.
Yeah.
But then he doesn't even care anymore.
Doesn't care.
Yeah. And the last 1/3 of the film, you don't see the doctor anymore. Like the doctor was there in the room, and then they never mentioned him at all. Like he just dropped.
You mean the Meyer guy?
The one with the big
Yeah. And
The one
then
with the
so like
comically large glasses.
one eye.
yeah, the glasses from the guy from Up. Right? Right. So like the whole film I'm like, oh, this guy has been working on a theory, right? Like he has found out something, he wants to explore it. And then it just cuts off. And then we like what happened?
Yeah. I mean, there were lots of unexplored threads that they just opened up and then they didn't close.
I think Josh, you asked the question about whether if you take 5 minutes off the ending, would it still make a difference? I would say no, because like I'm just put off by that scene where it suddenly became like a love story / thriller / pedophilic behavior. So I just couldn't anymore from there.
Oh, okay.
But she's
Technically speaking, it's
18.
not
She's
pedophilic
18.
because she's 18 years
doesn't look
old, so it's not.
Doesn't matter if
It's
she
not
looks 12.
pedophilic,
She's
but it is
18.
very, very creepy and predatory. It's predatory in nature. Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't put the points together as well. After those two guys woke up, like after that I just couldn't like connect the dots anymore. So
Right.
yeah.
Don't you all think that Jeremy looks like a little bit like Jake Gyllenhaal?
A bit,
I thought
yeah.
it was Daniel Radcliffe.
It's Harry Potter.
Sorry, that's just
No
a
one-
random
no one
that's just a
says
random aside. But yeah, he reminds me of Jake Gyllenhaal from that what's that film where he was acting as a really unscrupulous reporter. Yeah.
What's his name?
So
Nightcrawler or something.
Nightcrawler, yeah, from Nightcrawler. That guy had no ethics, and this guy has no ethics as well.
I mean, he's been stalking her like don't know how many days.
He's stalking her in real life and in her dreams. Like this is next level stalking,
Okay.
But isn't that her own fault then? It's her dream.
If that was a dream. If they were in her dream.
But it's confirmed it's her dream.
I don't know when it was the dream and when is the dream. Maybe we can end it on like a brighter note. Not bright, I mean like for a horror podcast on like a more better note. Like, maybe we can talk about some of the dream sequences that you actually found vivid or effective.
It just reminds me a lot of Sci-Fi. It's a lot of those hospital beds,
Mhm.
and then there's like people hanging around, and like hospital tiles.
Giant butthole.
The first thing they showed us, it was this hole with like wrinkles out. Before they even zoomed in, I couldn't see that it was hands. It looks like a giant butthole.
You were like, oh, butthole.
Right, that's very similar to Silent Hill 2. Silent Hill has like buttholes in it. Imagery. Right? Yeah. But I feel like none of the dream sequence connects to anything, has any meaning.
Right.
They're just there to like creep you out.
I mean, in light of the ending, it doesn't mean. But like, if let's not view the ending, does it? I mean, like, does it affect you at all?
Not really. It just reminds me of Silent Hill.
Because you've been playing Silent Hill. I think particularly what was most memorable for me was one of the sequences where the people's heads were like stuck in the walls, and there were a lot of them at the sides.
Yeah.
Creepy. It's not really a jump scare. It was like a leg.
The hands.
Yeah,
The hands.
Oh,
that jumped out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
started creeping towards
Right. So that's
pretty cool.
That's Silent Hill too.
That was pretty cool. And that's it. And it has no meaning.
I'm sure it has meaning. I'm sure the director wanted there's some kind of meaning. But I don't know. What about you guys?
Is that glowy eye man that feels very like real. Yeah. So you know like how we always say like, oh, don't go to stranger, but the stranger coming to you. But yeah lah, and then you always say like whatever when it comes to creepiness, it's always when something is glowing, right? The eyes glowy and then there's a shadow. So I think that it does the whole dreams. Nothing much was scary other than that creepy man. You know how sometimes we always like feel when we off the lights, then we have to faster run because we scared something behind. Something like that. It does bring back that eerie feeling from the dreams. But other than that, I think actually it's nothing much on the dreams because I mean it's dream lah. It shouldn't be explained lah. Like how our dream sometimes doesn't really make sense. So yeah.
Right. I don't know if I should say this, but like the Shadow Man, it was pretty creepy at times when they were just sort of like doing this slow zoom towards him. But at the end, when just Sarah
in the forest.
No, not even that. Like those are kind of creepy too. But like when at the end when Sarah like comes face to face with one, like really close, you could see that he had like glossy and shiny skin, and it was all black. So my first thought was, oh, orang minyak. So
insert some Malaysian context.
Should have stayed a shadow.
Yeah, should have stayed a shadow. Right. So to those who don't know, like orang minyak literally just means oil person, oil man in Malay mythology. It's just like a demon that's just covered, which is kind of
it's a Hamsap demon.
Guy just needs. That guy just needs some.
There is a Hamsap demon in the movie. So.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy just needs some Nivea, some skincare for oily skin. that's what that demon needs. No, I mean I actually like a lot of the dream sequences, but when I think about it, like the person that you see at the end of this, it always focuses on this one being at the end, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but it now when I think about it, it just reminds me of the Night King from Game of Thrones. I don't know why. Like, is it? I don't know why I'm making this connection, because you know the Night King doesn't look anything. Maybe it's the glowing eyes. Mm-hmm. But yeah, but for the most part, I did enjoy a lot of it. I mean, honestly, every time it went into those dream sequences, I was like, yeah, this is great. This is what I'm here for. Yeah, if only we didn't have that text at the end.
I think it started to make me think as well when they had like all same figure, when it all comes to that glowy eye man, boogeyman like that, right? So I think it must maybe explain that all the participants has gone through certain trauma to have come to the same person. Right. Yeah.
But they didn't say that.
Or that our collective fears are all found, or all primal fears are all found in the same
glowy
source.
Eye man. Yeah.
Whereas where the glowy eye man stands for is a metaphor for our
fear,
inherent fears and so it's a shared kind of thing, which I think is a really interesting concept.
Josh is so disappointed.
They said the first three guys participated. They said they were like in this experiment for like years.
Right.
They started this experiment.
This guy started when he was 5,
right?
and then the other started when he was like 15 or something.
Right? Like this only happened. Like all these things happened only when the girl came in.
It doesn't
Yeah.
really matter, I guess.
Doesn't matter.
The participants in the end don't really make much difference. Yeah. There's another thread that they just opened and then they didn't close. Right.
Yeah, the woman that was in the same room as her, and then she just disappears, and then
She never came back.
Yeah, she never came back. They never explained why or who was.
I saw some people online like putting forward theory that maybe that she's also in a coma and then she wakes up. But then the question becomes how come coma patients can overlap, have their consciousness overlap like that?
Right, have the same dreams, the same sleep experiment.
They are in the same dream, and then their second level dream is also same, which is
Maybe they somehow met before they went into coma. Then
yeah.
somehow that when you walk
Yeah.
past somebody you don't even know, but that fella just appear in your dream. Maybe it does explain if that happens, right? Then then they can go into the coma, then like suddenly gone. No?
Or she might be like a patient in her same hospital room, and then that woman woke up and then left already, and then so it reflects in her dream as well. Right. I hate that I'm defending the film. I don't want to defend the film.
there is a really scary, like what Alina said. There is a really scary creepypasta that there's this picture of this guy, and if you look at it, it's really familiar. And if you show it to everyone else, everyone would think that it's really familiar as well. And the theory is that we've all seen this guy in our dreams, and like he would be the source of everyone's nightmares. There's this picture going around. I can send it to you guys later, but
yeah, no thanks.
Maybe not
no
today,
thanks, Joe.
but to what Alina said, the story of this guy, this creepy looking guy who looks super familiar to everyone, and everyone would think that why does this guy look so familiar? So the theory is that we've all seen him in our dreams.
Is that guy Jackie Chan? Does that explain why? Like
He's everywhere. No, not Jackie Chan. I can find the photo. But it's a really cool creepypasta.
Yeah. Okay, like if we want to end this on a like positive note, I want to ask Lynn this, right? So like there's that final sequence where they go into the forest. I hope you have positive feelings about it, because like for me, I did have positive feelings, but I did enjoy that, to go to the forest. It like what's going on here, and then they find the phone, and then they start getting grabbed out of they get dragged into the woods by these unseen shadow people. I felt that was I thought, oh, this is the climax of the film. This is great, right? This is where we're ending. I enjoyed that. Like, did you find that creepy, or were you like, nah, I'm checked out already by now?
It's the latter. I'm checked out already.
Oh no!
No, because it didn't make sense. Like, why did they follow her all the way to the woods? I don't know why the phone was there in the first place, and then he just turned off whatever alarm that was ringing. But yeah, because it didn't make sense, and I'm a person of like logic, and it's just not logical to do that. So yeah, I was quite checked out already. Couldn't relate lah.
Yeah. Well, I tried, guys. I
That
tried.
was not the positive note that we wanted to share.
No, actually, I have a positive note to share though. Like, I think the horror sequences were really random, which were great, because that's how most of our dreams are like, right? Like, usually our dreams don't make sense, and I think it's really cool that they use this like panning, just straight panning towards that figure at the end, that whoever is it, the entity. And I think it was really effective because they were just like random things around. Like, it comes from like shapes, and then it started turning into something else, and it was just all random. And to be honest, I don't remember any of them, but they were really effective in the movie. And same sentiments like Josh. They just didn't make use of that lah.
So what rating would you give this film?
I would say a 3. I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the movie, but there were things that I liked. So going back to my point at the spoiler-free section, I really like the premise of them leveraging on this study of Carl Jung, but it just didn't work out. Like, I mean, the first half of the movie was good, but the second half just they were just swaying away from the entire study, to me personally. And that's one. And then the other thing was I like the mood and the palette. It was a bit like greenish blue kind of setting, and it's like it feels like the whole town only has those few people. So that really worked, and the music was good as well. Not overwhelming, but it fit the movie very well. So a very generous 3, I would say.
A generous 3. Generous 3.
I wouldn't watch this again if you ask me. So yeah.
Right. Bye, Lina.
For me, I don't think it's gonna be any better than the 3. It's around I think 4.5. I would give 4.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I agree with Lin as well when she said I wouldn't watch the second time, because there's no point for me watching the second time trying to understand, because the whole movie was like there's no point. Right? But if let's say you're watching to understand on a psychology point of view, or maybe you want to watch it again to if let's say students wants to see how it was filmed, it's great lah, right? You can watch the second time. But if it's like just for leisure time, no lah. I'd rather watch another horror movie. But yeah, 4 will be good. 4.5 around there.
Caleb?
I'll give it a 5. Because aside from the story and the odd weird text at the end, right? Everything else was done very, I would say, very well, very professionally. Like the visual, the cinematography, audio also. And then the lighting and everything. Acting also was pretty good too.
Mm-hmm.
Like there wasn't any like this. It's not like a bad film. It's made badly, poorly, or anything.
Yeah.
It's very well made, but it's just that it's just ruined by that one text again. Yeah, so 5 is pretty good.
Right.
Pretty decent. I see the effort that they put in the production.
Yeah, I think my sentiments would be the same as Caleb. Mine would probably be around 5 or 6 actually. I don't think it's fair to give it a low score because of the ending, but I mean there were a lot of unused potential, and that's a negative as well. But if you consider the fact that this is done by one person, is it shot by one person, written and directed by one person, so yeah, even the music is done by one person, which is quite the feat, I would say. So of course there's some stuff that we can go on and on about, but just for the visuals alone was I said it was a really big plus for me. Every time those dream sequence comes on, I find myself fascinated. The music is really good. It draws me in a lot. So I would say somewhere between a 5 and a 6. I would give it a 6. I mean, that would be it, right? But the ending just fell so flat, and there were a lot of open threads that were not closed properly, and in the end, I guess he just ran out of ideas. I don't know what happened. So yeah. Josh?
10 out of 10.
Okay, no. Joe, I just want to say that quite the feat would be a good name for that dream creature with all the feet.
Quite the feat.
Okay, no, but okay, I'm gonna cheat a little bit here, right? So I'm gonna give 2 ratings.
Hey.
If we take the film, if I rate the film up until the final 30 seconds, I would actually give it like a 7 out of 10 because I think there's so many interesting things about the film. And Joe, you're right that we maybe shouldn't judge it so harshly just based on that very weak ending. But that's why we have 5 people here, right? So y'all can be nice to it with that ending. But I'm gonna say, yeah, 7 out of 10 because of a few things. I think the performance especially by Julia Sarah Stone was really, really good. The art direction is really good. The music is really good, right? And the pacing of the film I thought was pretty good as well. So that honestly, right, when I think maybe like a third of the way through the film, I was thinking to myself, wow, this is actually going to be one of my favorite films of the year because I was digging a lot of it. Yeah, but if we the thing is that I have to rate it based on the entirety of the film, and if I look at the entirety of it, man, it really is for me it's a 2 out of 10. It's that ending is really, really terrible. I don't know. I could stand a mediocre ending, and the thing that I think I disagree with you guys is that I am okay with some of the things being left ambiguous because I think they make interesting talk points where you can actually talk about it and say, oh, actually, we don't see those the doctors or lab assistants again. What do you think that means? Or I'm fine that they never explain really what that creature is in their dreams or that is manifested out of their dreams. I think that if you are interested in that, the director has given enough there that you can then go and look and read deeper, especially the writings of Carl Jung, and then it makes it all make more sense. And I think a plotting of the film really shouldn't we shouldn't hold too much against a film that is explicitly about dreams, right? Like you cannot go into a film about dreams expecting it to make a lot of sense. Like to actually reflect dreams, it should have parts where time lapses or things are out of order or it doesn't make sense or things like that. But it's just that I like so much about it, how it looks. It looks so good. It looks so good. It's just that ending. My God.
When
I saw that, I was
Josh,
like,
you should just watch the whole film again, and then right up to the end when there's 30 seconds left, you just turn it off.
But I already know that it's there. It is like that end. That ending is like the creature in their dreams. I will know that it's there. It's always there. If I watch it again, I'm just heading for this one thing that is there, hidden behind, all these doors but everything about it is so good. It's just a 2 out of 10, honestly, because of how it ends.
So wasted. It's so wasted.
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations? Let's say if someone is really interested in this film and then go watch another one that's close to it.
If you want to watch like a horror film that doesn't make a lot of sense but it's very creepy, and this one is not about dreams, right? But Triangle, Joe, I think you've watched Triangle before.
Love it.
Yeah, so it's something similar, right? Where you're going through something and you're trying to figure out what is going on, and and Triangle is explicitly not about dreams. It's about I'll leave you to find out what it is about. Yeah, I can't say what it is because it's a spoiler, but it's something like that. So this film gave me a lot of Triangle vibes, and I'm okay. It's a little bit bad. I'm recommending Triangle because I actually don't like Triangle as well. But I know a lot of people do like it, right? So if you want a kind of confusing kind of thing, if this film actually gave me a lot of The Endless vibes, where that kind of feel is indie, well-made indie horror film that you have to piece together, that it's not, and it's not just the Endless. I think, Joe, what was the prequel to the first one? The film that came before the Endless.
Where there are two brothers was from the cult, and then they went back to the cult.
No, that is the Endless, but the film that happened before that, that intersected with that.
I don't.
The first one, anyway, the films by. Hang on, who are the directors of the Endless? This is so terrible that I cannot recall. By Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, right? So, they have done Resolution, and then the Endless, Spring, Synchronic, which Synchronic I think is their weakest one. But if you want this kind of trippy horror films, check out Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead's films. I think those are pretty good as well.
Okay, right. Alina, do you have any recommended reading? Carl Jung's reading.
I mean, you can actually search up when Carl Jung was trying to come up with his study together with Freud. Like, he was trying to fight back, like, oh no, I want to debunk your theory. It's pretty. If let's say you really want to read, it's pretty nice and fun to read the difference on how they see dreams. Yeah, but that would be a very good recommended readings for you.
Right.
But yeah, if you're not really into looking into research, I think having the dream interpretation is pretty nice to look into as well. Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite fun when you look into dreams. It does says a lot on your personality and also maybe things that you are trying to hide. Yeah, it's pretty interesting if you really venture into that path. But to me, is don't take it too seriously, I guess. Yeah, because
don't take it too seriously,
ruin you,
or
like
that
how
guy is
Sarah
gonna
is
find
being
you.
ruined.
That guy is gonna find you, like in the tree. Yeah.
Then you go into coma.
Yeah. And Caleb has been recommending Silent Hill throughout, like low-key recommending Silent Hill throughout.
he keeps saying about that.
The review.
I mean, if you like weird stuff like that, then yeah, Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, the game series or the film?
Film.
I think I would recommend the film. The first one, not the second one. The second one's just garbage. Yeah.
No, I was thinking this. Remember this horror show where there's this artist that goes crazy. Then he starts killing people because of his art that makes him angry. I forgot what's it called.
Something Candy.
Yeah.
He's like a rocker.
The Devil's Candy.
Sorry? The Devil's Candy.
Kind of reminds me of that kind of like artsy film.
Right. Like more indie.
Yeah.
Very artistic. Yeah, okay. Right.
Elena has another recommendation.
Yeah, I suddenly remember I watched this movie. It's also talking about, I think if I'm not wrong, it's talking about sleep paralysis as well. The Nightmare. Have you guys watched that before?
That's a generic ass.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it's legit.
The SEO for
if
that,
I'm not
for
wrong,
that film is going to be
title
terrible.
of that movie. Yeah, I mean it's okay lah. It's not like a full horror. It's more like a documentary kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It does bring in some
I've heard of it
horror
before.
parts, so that's nice.
Yeah.
To me lah. Yeah.
Yeah. Lynn, everybody has recommended something. Why don't you go ahead and recommend something as well?
I don't have any recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, because because to begin with, I don't really watch sci-fi movies. So yeah, I don't have any specific ones.
Well, but that's okay. Now you have like 4 recommendations to follow up on if you want.
Okay.
If you like this sort of
Once
thing.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for this week's review of Come True. We still need to forecast our next review. Okay, so Josh, what are we reviewing the next episode?
Yes. So I was thinking, okay, like what can we do, right? And so I know that last week off air I had said maybe let's do Alien or Aliens. But then I was like, I've seen it so many times, and if we do it, I'm gonna dominate the conversation again. So I don't really want to do that. And I was thinking, if we're doing sci-fi horror, like we cannot skip this film. So I'm gonna say let's do Event Horizon.
Yes!
We're gonna do Event Horizon. Yeah, we have to do it. We have to do it because it's when I think sci-fi horror, I think the first one that comes to my that and The Fly, right? So Event Horizon, we have to do it.
So you mind giving us a snapshot of what Event Horizon is about?
It's about a spaceship that goes to hell.
Perfect.
That's it. That's all you need to know.
Perfectly summarized. Directed and starring.
Okay, it goes to hell and it comes back. So it's Paul W.S. Anderson, right? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, and it stars the guy from Jurassic Park. Sam Neill.
Lord.
And Morpheus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why am I forgetting all their
Lawrence
names?
Fishburne.
Lawrence Fishburne, yeah. Oh, it's so good. I can't wait to talk to you all about it. So especially like for Lin, who has not watched Event Horizon before. You are in for a treat. I hope it's a treat.
Overhyped.
Yeah, it's just goofy. It's goofy fun. Yeah.
So I don't know if Alina wants to join us for the next one, but we are going to be reviewing Event Horizon in our next episode of Sci-Fi Horror. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Alina, for joining us. That's it.
Thank you for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.